All right, we are good to go. Namaste once again to all of you for joining in. To be very honest, I never thought when we started this session on Saturday that we will be doing 3 follow-up sessions post this. This just talks about the kind of questions that all of us have and the urge to find out what is the best knowledge that's available outside. So thanks to all of you for being with us through this sustained effort. I think we are good to go. Questions from your side are welcome to Mr. Karthik.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Arkesh.
So since the session was about MBA, my question is, why MBA? What do we actually...
Arkesh,
Sir?
we are having just you the second session. So this was the first session on your career choice or chance, which was exclusively on information science engineering. The coming Sunday at 11 a.m., we will be kickstarting the session towards masters, and the courses that we will be covering will be MBA and MS. MS, preferably doing it outside India. So these are the two courses that we will be kickstarting from Sunday. So if you're interested to take part in that session as well, kindly send me a mail. I will share with you the details regarding the session. One of the panelists will be Mr. Karthik Ramesh. He's done his MBA from ISB. And that too after how many years of your IT journey, Karthik?
8 years.
How many years?
8 years.
So after 8 years, he wanted to go back and go back as a student, joined ISB, did his master's. So we will look at his journey. Why did he do that? What made him do that? Why an MBA in the first place? If an MBA, which are the colleges that we need to look at? Whether to do it in India, do it outside India? Does the name of the institution matter? The same thing will be dealt with the MS course as well, Master of Science. So Arkesh, I would just want you to wait for couple more days, and then you can join in for that session. Kindly reach out to your friends as well, who were pursuing their PUC and interested in masters. At the same time, reach out to people who are currently in their bachelors. If you have your friends or cousins and are confused about doing a master's or going into a job, or people working who are in a situation where should I continue working in this place or should I look for a change? So kindly reach out. This is a request to all of you on this call. We will be having this session on Sunday. Keep in touch with my YouTube channel for more updates regarding those sessions. So Arkesh, any other question other than MBA, we can just take it up today.
Yes, sir. So, sir, what does a college degree actually give us? Because in this digital era, everything and anything can be learned online. So, if we have the capability of finding our own job or even creating jobs, apart from the placements, what does a college degree actually give us? Like, what do we gain from it?
Again, it's a very generic question. Probably I'll answer it from, let's say, engineering perspective. I won't get into the MBA part of it, but we'll take the MBA part of it probably on Sunday, right? For me, I think what college gives is they put a structure around what you learn, because some of the skills that probably you think you just need to know programming language, and then let's say you get into the industry, is a little different from you understanding, let's say, a little more broader version of engineering. So they definitely put a structure around you understanding engineering a little bit more, and it also helps you, let's say, evaluate some of your interests when you probably take up a course that you're not still aware of, right? So, for example, in your first year, like I said, you probably touch electronics, electrical, mechanical. You touch a lot of these, and probably one of them might just click and you say, oh, this is something that looks fun. I might give it a shot. So it lets you experiment, and there's a guided content that is there. And the second part, you asked about campus placements, right? So that is definitely a very big advantage when you select a job. So imagine now if you've just learned a programming language and you're trying to apply for, let's say, a company of a decent size. I won't say a very small company. Let's say a decent size company you're applying for. What is it that they have to make sure that the credentials that you claim are good enough, right? So definitely college plays like a screening of sorts. So if you are from, let's say, a particular background, or if you are from a particular college, it directly adds a level of screening to your profile. So if, let's say, there are 10,000 people who are applying for a particular job, and Arkesh, who's done his programming from Coursera, versus Arkesh, who's probably out of Dayanand Sagar, versus an Arkesh who's out of NIT Surathkal, all come with a different screening process, right? Because it's very different and it's very specific to a particular college, and you're already back down into a funnel. How do I differentiate an Arkesh who's done, let's say, a course from Udemy versus somebody who's come out from, let's say, a college? I would prefer somebody who's gone through a certain level of screening, because I've already eliminated a lot of other people and not waste a lot of my time on who I think could be, who I think might not be recruited. The other thing that also comes, so I wouldn't specifically say a degree is not useful. A degree definitely, if you look at this world, and this is my personal opinion, and it's not that somebody I've talked to and somebody's told me that this is what it is. It's completely my opinion. This world runs on a lot of brands. It runs on a lot of perceptions, and there are a lot of stereotypes, and there are a lot of things that are attached to, let's say, things like a degree or a college, right? So these are basic check boxes you probably want in your resume at this point in time, until the concept of a degree goes away, and until it is kind of relevant in the industry. And I think when people are still using it as a screening process and it's still a part of your process, I think you should still have something which is relevant there to get it done. And it definitely puts you along the right path, and it gives you the right bumps when you have to move through. And that is something which we cover when we do our masters or MBA, because we will also say how it kind of helped us. A degree helped us make a switch, or a degree helped us put you across into a certain level of something, right? It's not just a skill which I can learn somewhere. It also played a part into how it helped the career.
Thank you so much, sir.
Arkesh, I would add a different dimension to this question altogether. When we are dealing with a job, it's not just about the technical aspects that we are looked into. When you're faced with an interview, of course, you are interviewed based on your technical aspects. You might clear the interview. But the moment you join a company, it is not only your talent that matters, it is how you work with people around you also that matters. What do you learn from individuals? What are the life lessons that you have learned through your journey? That makes a huge difference as well, which is something you cannot learn by sitting within the four walls of your house with a laptop on. Of course, you'll be working with a laptop if you're a software engineer, but at the same time, when you're working in a team, you will have to work with people of differing opinions. You will have to work with people who have their own points of view. You'll have to agree to disagree. You'll have to agree to argue. You'll have to argue. You'll have to win an argument. You'll have to stand your ground. All these things cannot be learned through Coursera or through Udemy. That's where the college plays a very important role. Your experience as a student, your experience as an individual, with friends, with people who have taught you lessons, with people who have given you those valuable life lessons in the course of your journey, which is something that online learning can never complement. So I'm sure Karthik Ramesh would also agree to this. Our childhood memories, the life lessons that we learn by dealing with people on a daily basis, make a huge difference when we go to a job as well. So this is just a different dimension that I would like to add. Of course, you can work on your skill sets, which can make you better at the job. But I would still say a college is an amazing platform where you make friends, where you build contacts, where you understand what a heartbreak is, where you understand failures, and you will understand what a support system means when you go through a failure. All these are things which are invaluable, which can never be replicated virtually.
Thank you, sir. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anybody else has a question?
I have one.
Yes, can you just be a bit louder? Yes, who's that?
I think it's Shreyas. Shreyas, I can't
Hello.
hear you. Yeah.
I
Am I
think
audible
we can
now?
hear you now.
Hello. I'm Shreyas, sir.
Yes, Shreyas, go ahead.
Okay. So my question was that while pursuing engineering, is it better to start off as a freelancer than work as an intern at a particular company? Because the general perception is that interns aren't given enough respect, or they aren't given enough work in companies initially. So which is better?
Okay, I can answer this from probably personal experience, Shreyas, and so you can take this with a pinch of salt, right? Um, let's talk about internship as a point that you spoke about, where interns are not being given respect. It really depends upon the company culture and the company you're going to work with. Uh, eh, I have worked with interns in Microsoft. I've worked with interns in Adobe. I've also had interns work with me, uh, and it really it's a very cultural thing for a company, and it's a very cultural way it's handled across a particular team, right? So those dynamics play in, and I disagree if it's a blanket statement to say that interns are not given respect. I think that's a little extreme to say. Let's put it that way, right? So definitely the other part which you talked about, where let's say interns are not given enough work, that also depends upon the kind of company you're going into and the kind of job that you do. So I know a couple of friends of mine who are working for startups as interns, and the kind of work that they are doing in those startups, probably a 1 or 2 year old person, 1 or 2 year experienced person in the industry is also not doing. So it really depends upon which company and what kind of company you're applying for. So if again, now let me give you specific examples. Let's say if you are going to join a company which is in their very initial growth phases, right? Where they have a lot of things to do, but they don't have enough people to do it. And you go as an intern there, you are going to get your hands dirty, and you will not have a lot of free time because whatever little money they are paying you, they are trying to get the maximum out of it, right? If you go to a very big company, let's say like Microsoft, and you're going to a very big team, right? Where it's already structured, the product is very well defined, there is already specified roles, what each one should do and how much each one will contribute. Then you go in as an intern, you have very defined role and what you can do and what you can contribute. So, and it completely is upon the person who you are interning with and how much they keep you occupied and how much they want to push you to learn more things. It comes to a personal connect then, and how much you want to kind of also reach out and say, I want to learn more, give me more work. I think as an intern, if you say give me more work, nobody's going to say no. I think it's true for not just internship, as an employer and an employee. If you go ask your employer, give me more work, I don't think anyone's going to say no ever. If you feel you're not getting enough work, you can always go ask for more work and they'll give you more work, right? So that's with internship. And now let's come with freelancing. With freelancing, the pros and cons of it, right? The pro of it is you're free to choose what you want to work on, because the problems are put out there and you are basically bidding for, let's say, okay, now this is something which I think is interesting, I'll probably work on it. The con of it is it's not going to be given to you just because you want to work on it, right? You have to prove that you are someone who's capable of completing it, right? And you're competing against not interns per se, you're also competing against people with different levels of experience. You're also competing with people who have done it before and who have better ratings and things like that. So it's not going to be very easily given to you. So in the freelancing world, you definitely have to build up your profile before you can, let's say, put a stake on saying, okay, now this is something which I want to work and probably I have a high chance of getting it. But you have to build up your profile towards it. So I think as you start engineering, you are definitely going to get internship opportunities a little later towards your engineering, let's say around the 6th semester or something. But freelancing, you can start off initially because you can do very small amount of work. You can do, let's say, freelancing for a day, for a week. the timelines are different in freelancing, which is defined by you. But in internships, it's very defined. You have to do internship for, let's say, 3 months or 6 months, and then you have to stick to that commitment, right? Freelancing is again something where you can pick and choose. So I would say start off with freelancing, kind of get your hands a little deep in it, and then you can kick in your internship towards the later part of your engineering to kind of work with structured teams, and you'll see both flavors of
Thank you, sir.
Any other question anybody has at this point in time?
I think if we don't have more questions, do you think we should go through the questions that were submitted?
Yeah, I do have a few questions, but I'm just waiting for the participants out here if they have any questions. If they do not, I have a set of questions that have been asked through mail. So if nobody has questions to ask, then probably I have a few questions that I've listed down from people who have requested. Again, if people here can just ask a question whenever you feel like during this entire journey of this session. So coming back to one of the questions that people have asked, why does India not have companies like Microsoft or Adobe or Google? Why is it difficult for India not to have companies like these?
It's a very interesting question, and I think I will take it again. There are two flavors to this question. So the companies mentioned in the question are very tech-driven companies, right? They have built very successful products for very specific set of users. So they have product solutions which others can adopt and they can do. So they are very tech-driven companies. And now let's break it into tech-driven companies and companies that are building things for solving problems that are out there. So in the last few years, if you've seen how India has grown in terms of IT in itself and let's say technology in itself, India probably is lagging behind US in terms of the big companies that are out there. But we are definitely in a place where we are pushing out more and more products, and the companies are becoming more and more successful. The number of startups and the number of companies that have grown. I'll give you a few examples. You guys might have not heard or might have heard of this company called Freshdesk and Zoho. They are again Indian companies. They have built successful products and they're enormously successful, and they are billion-dollar companies. Freshdesk is definitely one of the biggest unicorns out there, and they are into customer relationship management, right? Which is about how do you maintain customer success across sales, across ticketing and issues and answering customer queries and all of that. They have software built for that, and it's a company based out of Chennai, and their CEO Girish Mathrubootham, he's doing amazing work, right? They have a solid business, and it's one of those companies which is being talked of as the next big thing in terms of enterprise space, in which what's being done, and that's something really good to look at. And that's a technology-driven company, right? That's like the SaaS company that's there. So now let's take a look at the other problems which we have answered and the big companies that we have probably put it out there on the world map. We know that Uber and Ola are kind of synonymous whenever we talk about the mobility space, right? But now look at the companies that have come in like DriveZ, Vogo, Bounce. You have Yulu. These guys are doing amazing work. So if you look at how the kind of money that these guys are raising and the kind of growth that these guys have seen over the last few years, it's just insane. So we were lagging behind. I think we are still lagging behind US, but that curve has changed. I think we are now in a place where innovation is being driven out of India, and a lot of different India-specific problems are being solved here. Like for example, a Bounce is very specific to India because the number of two-wheelers that are being used and the number of people who want to use two-wheelers is very different from, let's say, a Europe or a US. So it's a very specific solution that's being used. Now let's look at something completely different from this space, right? And how India has kind of done. Look at CultFit or CureFit. Now that is a company which I think in the fitness space, it's such a different space which was probably not attacked so much, but the way they've done it and the way it's growing, that's something which is very, very commendable. And then I don't know if you guys have heard of this company called Udaan. It was the fastest unicorn again in India. A unicorn is basically a company that reaches $1 billion very soon. That's when it becomes a unicorn. So these guys have done a wonderful job. So if you look at the kind of companies that we are putting out there on the world map and global map and the kind of investments that are coming in, we are doing very well. Paytm right now I think is the #1 app in India, and their app in Japan is also #1. So if you guys were not aware of that, so these guys are doing wonderful job putting us on the world map, and I think it's changing.
And of course, there is a lot of policy hurdles as well that companies have to go through. Hopefully, after the new push of Prime Minister Narendra Modi towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat that we are looking at, where we want to be self-reliant towards all the spheres, maybe this crisis or Corona crisis may be an opportunity in the open. Now, one other question that has come frequently when people have asked me, today we are talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking about Internet of Things, we are talking about data analytics. Maybe 5 years later, it might be something else as well. Now, what are the avenues or what are the sources through which we can keep ourselves updated about the new technology? Of course, we can hear about this everywhere in the news, but other than that, how does one keep in touch with the updations that are happening?
So let me answer this from the kind of user who wants to consume this content, right? So let's say you are a programmer or you're working in the IT industry and you want to generally learn about things. Then there are so many different content out there. So you have, let's say, tech blogs where people write about what is the latest thing that is happening, how companies are leveraging certain things. And there are certain, let's say, evangelists who are like, let's say, these people are basically the ones who are leaders in their own space, and they have a lot of different talks and they have a lot of different channels through which they communicate what is happening in that particular space and how it can be relevant to your problem and things like that, right? So you can listen or follow these speakers, or you can look at tech blogs, and then you have podcasts which are kind of making their way to the industry, right? So people have these quirky sessions, one-on-one sessions, or they're just talking generally about what is the in thing, how people are solving problems with all these latest technologies out there. You can consume information from different sources, right? But now it really comes down to what do you want to do with this information source, and some of them might be too heavy for, let's say, my dad who wants to just know about what is the latest thing that's happening in, let's say, wearables, right? He probably wants to know what's a smartwatch. He doesn't want to go so deep into understanding what a smartwatch does. So you also have to filter out content based upon at what level you want to consume. Probably if you want to get very specific into, let's say, understanding how to build something like that or how to use it in your daily life, then you want to listen to these SMEs and these big people who are influencers in this community and understand what they're saying. But if you just want to keep updated about what is happening out there, I think decent tech blogs are out there, enough articles are out there, and just searching for it, I think you get enough information.
All right, so there's one question from Dhanush. He asks us, is there a chance of creating a robo or a bot which can do basic programming such that these small programming tasks can be shifted to the system?
Yeah. That's a very good question, and it's a little out of my purview of things. So whatever I answer, please take it with a pinch of salt. I had a roommate who was working, who I used to stay with in Hyderabad, and he used to work on robotics. And there was something that he used to show me, and that was something which I really got interested in, right? So using, I forgot the name of what it is. I'll probably, after the session, I'll get back to you. There is this Google Toolkit through which you can create visual programming. So let's say you define certain blocks of programming code, like if X, then do Y, and if not, do something else, and things like that. And if you define a block of code, it is like working with a puzzle piece. So every time you define this block, you can always connect it with another block visually, and then your entire code builds up. So you don't need to necessarily code, but you have a visual way of connecting different blocks of code, and then you have a program that works. So with let's say AI and ML coming in, and again, there was one engineer who I worked with in Microsoft, and his entire hobby, or let's say a pet project that he was doing, was on how do you suggest what is the next line of code to write based upon the previous code that was written, right? And he was working with Visual Studio, and he did a small prototype, and I think it even won a small prize within a hackathon. And so people are looking into this space, and they're trying to make sure how do you bring the cognitive effort on programming low. But it's personally not my space, because like I said, I've moved away from that space 4 or 5 years ago, but I can definitely share a few articles of how it is done after this call.
Yeah, there's one other question that is frequently asked. Why is there this big American dream? Why do people want to go out of India and do the same kind of jobs that probably they'll be doing in India? Why do they want to go abroad and work?
I think it's okay. Let me answer it in a different way. I think it's a very personal choice of whether you want to go out and work, especially now that, like I mentioned in the question before, there are a lot of things that are being built out of India, and what is it that drives you, and what is it that you want to work on is also a factor that plays into it. But again, I think it's not too far away that there are a significant set of people in the industry who want to go outside and also work. And what is it that these people experience when, let's say, they go outside India and they work? I've worked with my counterparts in US, and I've worked with my counterparts in Europe. And what I see is the way they approach a particular problem and the way they go attacking a particular problem is very different from the way we do it here. But that gap is coming down. It's definitely narrowing out, but the way it is attacked and the way it is done is very different. But apart from that, I think what also kind of pulls in people to work outside India is the change in the work environment, right? You've been working, let's say, in a company, in a particular environment with a certain set of colleagues, with a certain set of mindset over, let's say, 5-6 years. Now you also want to change. You want to go see in a different country how are things to do. And it's not just about the work. You also want to experience a different part of your personal life. You also want to see how other things work in a different country, right? Not just professionally, but also personally. So I think all of those conditions add to it, and it makes it a very colorful experience for somebody who's looking out for it.
Anybody has any other questions before I move ahead? All right. So, Karthik Ramesh, what I would want you to do over the next couple of minutes is to give your conclusion about what CS and IS is in store, what the future holds good for CS and IS engineers, and what should people look forward to. And in conclusion, what is it that you would like to say to all the budding students who would like to take up computer science and information science engineering?
Sure. I'll talk to it from the Indian context. For all the CS and IS or aspirants, let me put it like that, people who want to get into CS and IS teams, please put all your doubts to rest about the existentiality of the stream, or the worry of whether is it the right course for me to pick up once if you have decided that you want to do CS or IS, and if you want to get into the tech stream. Because I think the technology space is going to remain. Innovations are happening, and it will continue to happen. It is not something that will die away. And I would personally say, if you are looking into CS and IS, right, it's a very exciting time to be there, because the number of things that are coming up on a yearly basis is just, I think, unprecedented. It's never been this fast, this soon, and the way things are getting enabled. So it's very exciting times. Keep yourself up to date with what is happening. Just keep learning as much as you can. And if anybody has told you that, my parents told me this, that after 10th, just clear this exam. You don't need to worry about it anymore. Your life will be taken care of. Probably in second PUC, you will hear the same thing. This is one big exam, clear it. Everything else will be taken care of. I tell you, that is the biggest exaggeration, or I would say the lie that somebody's told you. Learning never stops, because it's never enough, because this industry is moving. You have to keep learning. So put that away from your mind and just get into it with a mindset to learn. mindset to take in whatever comes your way, and I think you'll do wonderfully there.
Thank you, Karthik. We would like to ask one last question based on the theme of this show, your career, choice, or chance. Let me ask you this question. Whatever career that you have taken, that you took, was it by chance or was it a choice? If it was by chance, do you regret it right now if that it did not fall into your choice?
My career started off as a chance. It definitely started off as a chance. It was not my choice because I definitely did not know what I wanted to do. I never had knowledge of what I wanted to do. I knew I had a few interests, but I never seriously thought about what options kind of intersect my interest and careers out there, right? But as time progressed, I am consciously working towards making a career choice and how I get to that. And it's something which I have not achieved yet. It's something that's a work in progress. And regarding the regret part, I think there is no regret. It's just at what time you realize that you really want to make a step towards a choice, right? And it took it took me a certain amount of time, and it took a certain amount of let's say decisions and choices that I made, which kind of put me towards the path that I'm on. And as regrets, I think I have none. It's just taken me a little more time, but I think I have a good 20, 30 years more where I can do what I like.
Thank you so much for answering that question about the choice and chance. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we have when we choose a career. It's either by choice or by chance. You take it as a choice and go ahead, explore, or you landed up by chance. Make it a choice that you keep learning forward. Now, who thought, or probably in my case, I never thought that come May, come June, I will be teaching with a computer. I never imagined it. I would have happily used a chalk. I would have used a board to go teach all the organic chemistry reactions. But look at the scenario out there. I have to teach organic chemistry reactions with a laptop screen. So this just talks about my view about computer science and information science engineering. Without this platform, we would not be in a position to meet here. This has been the third session. All of us are in different places. All of us are in different time zones, especially one of my students joining in from Germany. Who would have ever imagined that we could have had a session like this and create meetings instantaneously so that we can join a session after session? Now, all this was possible because of the untiring efforts of the engineers the computer science engineers who have put in a lot of talent and effort into creating systems like this. So it was an amazing journey with all of you, exploring the various options available in computer science, information science, engineering. I hope the sessions that we had gave you a lot of insights into this stream and way forward as well. That's the intention, that's the objective of our exercise, to ensure that we answer questions that are there in your mind. Now, as I already told you, the next session, the next career choice or the next session would focus on masters. What after your bachelor's, would you like to do your masters? If you would like to do your masters, are you focused on MBA, or is your mind diverted towards MS? These are the questions that we would be asking coming Sunday. So I'll be sharing the details of the same through my YouTube channel and social media as well. So kindly look at that and do share it with as many people as possible, such that they get the benefit out of the experts who are there on the show. I would like to take this opportunity to really thank Mr. Karthik Ramesh for spending close to 4 hours with us, continuously answering questions one after the other. And I'm sure your insights have given the audience the desired direction to move forward. I also take this opportunity to really thank all the participants of the show, both on the call, on the session, and outside who have been watching our videos through YouTube. I'd like to take this opportunity to really thank you for subscribing to our channel, for being there with us throughout this journey. So thank you so much, Mr. Karthik Ramesh. It was a real pleasure having you on the show. All right, so post this, I'll be sharing a mail which will have a feedback form. I would request all of you to kindly share your feedback, give your feedback about the entire session that we had on computer science and information science engineering. Your feedback will definitely be taken, whether it is critical or whether it is appreciative. It will be taken in the right spirit to ensure that the sessions which are going to be organized further become as effective as possible. So until the next session on Sunday at 11 a.m., this is Karthik Krishnan signing off. Your career's choice or chance. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dhruti.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Shreyas. Thank you, Dhanush. Thank you, Sumant.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.